Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Janani. Today I'm going to show you guys how I made these really fun abstract earrings. For this project, I chose colors that are very vibrant. For the elements on this slab, I'll be using these small cookie cutters and also this really cool blade. I chose to work with this beige color first. I ran it through my pasta machine on the thinnest setting. From this color, I started cutting a bunch of small circles using the cookie cutter. Then I carefully placed these circles throughout the sheet of my background clay. In this process, I tried to be as random as I could. After all the circles are placed, I ran this light purple through my pasta machine on the thinnest setting. For the next element, I'm going to be using this triangle cutter. I place these triangles on the slab just how I place my circles. I overlapped some of these triangles onto the circles. Then I used the roller to lightly flatten the slab without distorting it. Again, using the thinnest setting, I rolled a sheet of pink clay. From this, I cut some more triangles. But this time, they were smaller and acute triangles. I placed these triangles throughout the slab as well. I'm not going to be doing a lot of voiceover on this tutorial because the slab is pretty self-explanatory. To create the next element, I rolled a sheet of fuchsia clay. And then using a knife, I cut a very organic shape I can best describe as a blob. I placed these blobs throughout the slab and used my fingers to smooth it down. I was so inspired to create this slab because of the Memphis challenge that was created by Fry Clay. Fry Clay is an Instagram community of makers that share, create these challenges that we can follow. Seriously, if you love clay, you should follow them. For the next element, I chose this raspberry color. Using the knife, I cut a shape, what looks like a rainbow. I placed these rainbow shapes throughout the slab as well. I will have all the tools and supplies used in this tutorial linked down in the description box, so make sure you guys check it out. I used the roller to lightly flatten the slab. On the sheet of indigo clay, I cut lines that are horizontal and vertical, creating small squares. Then I placed these tiny squares throughout the slab. Next, I rolled a thin sheet of yellow clay. I used this funky blade and cut pieces that are wavy. When cutting each row, I offset the blade slightly. I cut these into various lengths and placed it throughout the slab. I think adding these took the slab to the next level. I wanted to add some texture, so I went ahead and scored some lines horizontally and vertically on the triangles, and I used the needle tool for this. And for the circles, I used the dotting tool to add some holes. Since I wanted to add some more interest, I went ahead and used some black clay to create tiny balls. And I added these throughout the slab in clusters. Using my needle tool, I added some hatching to the fuchsia blobs to create some texture. And after the whole slab is textured, I move on to cutting my shapes. I use my simple cookie cutters to cut the shapes for the earrings. And I also use some contrasting clay to create some parts of these earrings. And I baked my earrings for about 1 hour in 225 Fahrenheit. I recommend you bake some samples to find out your ideal temperature and time. Once my pieces are baked and cooled down, I moved on to sanding. I'm using the wet sanding method to sand my pieces. And the sander I'm using is actually a nail sander that works very well for polymer clay pieces. And if you don't have a sander, you can always use a sandpaper. Here I'm using a 600 grit sandpaper. I'm using the same sandpaper to get rid of this tiny bubble. I wet my piece and then using circular motions, I thoroughly sand the top of the piece. This will get rid of any bubbles and make the top of the piece really smooth. And to drill holes for the pieces, I'll be using this attachment that came with this nail sander. I prefer to drill my holes after baking because I believe this way my holes are precise and clean. To finish these pieces, I'm using polyacrylic matte varnish. I'm using a soft brush and my needle tool to hold pieces in place. I let the varnish dry about 2 to 3 hours, then I move on to adding jump rings. To attach the earring bags, I'm using this loctite superglue. I let them dry for at least 24 hours without handling them. And here's how these earrings turned out. I hope you guys liked this tutorial, and thank you so much for watching my videos, subscribing to me and following me on Instagram. I appreciate it so much. I'll see you guys in the next video.